pointed out, for all of you, this is Angel Reese's home stomping grounds, by the way. So moving to Baltimore.
Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves for what is fast becoming a defining chapter in the annals of women's professional basketball. This summer in Baltimore, the CFG Bank Arena is set to host a series of electrifying games that many are already hailing as transformative moments for the WNBA.
Attention, her notoriety is based off Caitlyn Clark, because she wins the national title, first thing she does.
At the center of this seismic shift is none other than Caitlyn Clark, a name that has swiftly become synonymous with game-changing performances, record-setting viewership, and an undeniable magnetism that is turning ordinary matchups into must-see spectacles. In a move that has set the league abuzz, the Washington Mystics recently announced a significant change to their home court dynamics. Their upcoming WNBA matchups against the Indiana Fever, a team deeply intertwined with the rising narrative of Angel Reese, will no longer be contested in the familiar confines of the DC Arena. Instead, they've opted for the grandeur of a larger venue in Baltimore, Maryland. This decision, made in the spirit of accommodating a swelling tide of enthusiastic fans, is being widely interpreted as both a strategic financial play.
She mocks Caitlyn Clark, and then she doesn't even celebrate with her teammates. So she's made it personal with Caitlyn Clark. Then she's played off of that.
And an acknowledgement of the cultural phenomenon unfolding on the court. At first glance, one might assume that this decision was solely about logistics or crowd control. However, a deeper look reveals a layered strategy. Angel Reese's fan base, known for their unwavering passion, has long considered the DC Arena to be a sort of home base. Now, by moving the game to Baltimore, widely recognized as Reese's own turf, the Mystics appear to be staging a deliberate spectacle that not only ramps up the drama, but also forces a confrontation of narratives. It's a bold signal. In the battle for basketball supremacy and market influence, every detail, including the location, is part of the game. When one hears the names Caitlyn Clark and Angel Reese, it's easy to assume that the ensuing rivalry is limited to what happens on the hardwood. Yet, as our Sport Pulse is here to highlight, this is about far more than just points, rebounds, and assists.
But adjusting and just kind of have that mindset of like just moving on has been something I try to give myself a little bit of grace.
What is unfolding is a citywide and indeed a league-wide drama that encapsulates the broader cultural and commercial shifts taking place in the WNBA. On one side, you have Caitlyn Clark, a player whose arrival has redefined expectations, shattered long-standing records, and injected a fresh, irresistible energy into every arena she graces. Her game is not merely a collection of impressive statistics. It is a demonstration of skill, leadership, and an almost magnetic appeal that has turned every match into an event of national significance. On the other side stands Angel Reese, a player whose talent is unquestioned but whose narrative has at times been overshadowed by controversy and hyperbolic fan expectations. Reese's supporters have been vocal, sometimes excessively so, in heralding her as the face of a new era. Yet, when the numbers are crunched and the attendance records examined, it is Caitlyn Clark who emerges as the true catalyst for the league's phenomenal growth.
Line between hate and facts. And what I believe to be the case is that there was incremental growth in the WNBA comparatively to the exponential growth we are seeing now. What I'm about to tell y'all, I haven't.
Let's delve into some of the hard-hitting statistics that are fueling this debate. Prior to the 2023 season, the WNBA was already showing signs of growth, a respectable 40% increase in viewership from the previous year. However, with Caitlyn Clark entering the scene, the league has experienced a staggering 400% surge in viewership. This isn't just a marginal uptick. It's a revolution in how the sport is consumed and celebrated. But the impact goes beyond viewership alone. Caitlyn Clark's presence has been a driving force behind an astonishing 45% of the league's broadcast value last season. And if that wasn't enough, her influence has spurred a 500% surge in merchandise sales, an indicator that fans aren't just watching the game, they're wearing their allegiance. Her jersey has topped sales charts in Chicago and beyond, marking a clear departure from previous trends where attendance and merchandise numbers were less consistent. These figures aren't mere happenstance. They speak to a seismic shift in the league's commercial landscape, one that has fundamentally altered the economics of the WNBA. Teams across the league are now compelled to recalibrate their marketing strategies. Whereas before, a player's on-court performance was the sole measure of value, today it is equally about the ability to generate buzz, to fill arenas, and to transform each game into a full-blown media event.
Heard before, so I doubt you have either. Before the 2023 season, the WNBA had grown by 40% viewership from 2022 to 2023. But with Caitlyn Clark's arrival, it's grown by 400%.
One of the most intriguing aspects of this unfolding drama is the stark contrast between what happens on the court and the narratives that dominate off it. Angel Reese, despite being a talented and hardworking player, seems to capture attention mostly through moments of controversy or overly dramatic reactions. In contrast, Caitlyn Clark's contributions are consistently highlighted by her game-changing performances, her dazzling three-pointers, pinpoint passes, and a level of play that forces opponents to rethink their defensive strategies entirely. The difference is palpable. Where Reese might elicit a flurry of social media commentary for a questionable play or an emotional outburst, Clark garners respect through her statistical output and her ability to elevate the entire team. It's not about flashy celebrations or off-court antics, it's about consistent excellence, about transforming routine games into blockbuster events that draw in fans from all corners of the sports world. This difference in style and substance has led to a kind of cognitive dissonance among those who have long championed Reese as the future of the league.
Caitlyn Clark going to be playing here in Baltimore this summer at CFG Bank Arena. The Washington Mystics announced their 2 games with the Indiana Fever being moved from their home arena in D.C. to a larger venue.
Many of her supporters, while passionate and loyal, are now confronted with the irrefutable fact that true star power is measured not by post-game celebrations or off-the-cuff interviews, but by the ability to command arenas, dominate broadcasts, and generate unprecedented revenue streams. And here, in every measurable way, Caitlyn Clark stands as the embodiment of that star power. Let's take a moment to appreciate the broader impact that Caitlyn Clark's meteoric rise is having on the entire WNBA. The league, once characterized by sporadic attendance and modest television ratings, has undergone a dramatic metamorphosis. With her arrival, every game has taken on an added layer of significance, transforming the sport from a niche interest into a national phenomenon. It is now commonplace to see sold-out arenas, buzzing social media feeds, and headlines that place the WNBA squarely in the spotlight.
People say that Caitlyn Clark moves the needle. That is wrong. She is the needle. She dictates. We all know what she's done on the floor. It's history, right? But off the floor, my goodness,
Fans who had once been casual observers are now tuning in week after week, eager to catch a glimpse of what can only be described as a generational talent at work. And it isn't just the fans. Media networks and sponsors are rethinking their strategies, recognizing that the story of the WNBA is no longer just about a team or a season, but about an individual whose impact is rewriting the rules of the game. Caitlyn Clark's influence is not confined to her on-court prowess. Her very presence has become a catalyst for change within the league's business model. Each time she steps onto the court, she not only shifts the dynamics of the game, but also redefines what it means to be a marketable superstar in women's sports. The leagues that once struggled to fill arenas now find themselves at the mercy of an insatiable demand. Demand that, by all accounts, is fueled almost entirely by the Clark effect. No discussion of this phenomenon would be complete without addressing the polarizing yet passionate fan bases that have emerged around both players. Caitlyn Clark's supporters are a diverse group, encompassing everyone from lifelong basketball aficionados to curious newcomers who have been drawn in by the sheer magnetism of her play. Their enthusiasm is palpable, manifesting in record-breaking social media trends, sold-out ticket stubs, and a kind of electric anticipation that transforms every game into a communal celebration. Conversely, the fan base rallying behind Angel Reese is equally fervent, albeit in a different way.
Fever accounted for 45% of all the broadcast value of the WNBA last season. She accounted also for helping drive the numbers of merchandising up 500%.
Many of these fans have latched onto her as a symbol of a broader cultural narrative, one that emphasizes grit, resilience, and the promise of a fresh start. However, while their passion is undeniable, it has also led to a series of high-stakes expectations that are proving difficult to meet. Every missed shot or moment of perceived underperformance becomes a lightning rod for criticism, and while such reactions can be entertaining from an outsider's perspective, they often mask a deeper challenge: the inability to match the undeniable, record-smashing influence of Caitlyn Clark. For instance, a recent incident involving a high-profile billboard in Chicago sparked a frenzy among Reese's supporters. The billboard, which featured a bold image of Caitlyn Clark, was interpreted by many as a direct challenge. A statement that the new reality of women's basketball was not about tradition or established reputations, but about measurable impact and star power.
Let me tell you about Caitlyn Clark.
Yeah.
Caitlyn Clark has brought so many eyes to...
The ensuing debate was fierce, with voices on both sides arguing over the true essence of what makes a basketball player a franchise cornerstone. And yet, as the dust settles, the metrics speak for themselves. The attendance records, the skyrocketing ticket sales,